friends, welcome to Storytime. Today I'm going to share this book about how to be polite and kind with you, and also this other one called Two for Everything. Let's begin with the first one. This one belongs to a series of books that shows us how to be thankful, how to share more, but this one says how to get along and being polite and kind with friends. It was written by Cherry Miners. Let's read it. Good morning. Hello. I talk with people every day. Hi. Come and look. My words can show others that they are important to me. Come take a look. May I please be next? I say please when I ask for something. Please, may I be next? And I say please when I ask for help. Would you please help me? That means you are polite. If I ask in a polite way, the person will probably want to help me. When someone says something nice or does something for me, I say thank you. Thank you for the ride. I can notice all the kind things that people do. Another time I say thank you is when someone gives me something. And I smile and I show I'm glad that the person thought about me. See, they gave him a present because of his birthday and he said, thank you. If the person is somewhere else, I can send a note or say thank you on the phone. Like, for example, Grandma sent him this shirt to him, but Grandma's far, so he decided to call her on the phone. And I can show that I appreciate the kind things others do. There are many times when I can help someone. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. If the person thanks me, I can smile and say, you're welcome. That's being kind and polite. When I yawn, cough, or sneeze, I say, excuse me. And remember, we cough like this with our elbow, right? That's very important, especially during these days. I also say, excuse me, if I want to pass by. When I do something that could bother someone, I say, excuse me. He was very polite at the movie theater. When I do something by accident, I say, I'm sorry. Oh, he spilled the dog food. But he said, I'm sorry. I like to say kind things. I can notice when someone is friendly or helpful or does a good job. See? Little sister here got an A, so he said, wow. He also loves to say kind things to make people feel better. But it has to come from your heart, right? I can think before I say something. I can be polite and kind when I say what I think and I feel. For example, he didn't want any lemonade, so he said, "No, thank you." I bet you're using these words at home too, right? Saying yes, please, or no, thank you. I know polite things to say. For example, please, I'm sorry, thank you, good luck, I like it. When I use words to help someone feel good, I show respect. Excuse me, may I? You're welcome. When I speak polite words in a kind way, people enjoy being around me. It helps us get along. More friends will like you if you're kind and polite, right? Because we all like that from other friends too. I want people to treat me with respect. So that's how I treat them, with respect. May I please? Thank you. The end. Well, friends, think about who do you talk to every day? And how can you show other people that you care for them? You can use these kind of words so that they know that you care for them. And think about times when you say thank you. Or for example, you're welcome, excuse me, I'm sorry. You all know how to use those words. And let me ask you something. What does it mean to be polite or kind? Polite is like when you say, may I? And kind is when you're helping friends, right? So I hope you can identify all of these things. Now let me show you something here. There's another fun part in the book. Did you know that the American Sign Language has these words for us to learn? This word means yes. Yes, you can try that at home. Let me try this one. This one says no. No. This is the way that we say please, thank you. Let's review these. Yes, no, please, thank you. I know some of you already know these words. This is how you say you're welcome and I'm sorry. Oh, these are very useful and very easy. Thank you. You're welcome and I'm sorry. Well, thank you friends for listening to this story. Let's jump now to the other one. This was a nice one. Next one, a very different story. This one is called Two of Everything by Lily Toy Hong. Two of everything. Once long ago, in a humble little hut, lived Mr. Hacktack and his wife, Mr. Hacktack, Mrs. Hacktack, and they were old and very poor. What little they ate came from their tiny garden. They were growing their own vegetables in their tiny garden. In a lucky year, when the harvest was plentiful, Mr. Hack-Tack had a little extra to take to the village. There, he traded turnips, potatoes, and other vegetables for clothing, lamp oil, and fresh seeds. See, he went to the market and instead of using money, he traded whatever he grew in his garden and he exchanged it for clothes, oil for the lamps, extra seeds for eating. These are beautiful drawings. And did you realize the use of chopsticks and the use of hats? This hat too. The clothes that they're wearing, this hat, the baskets. I think these people live in Asia. Let's continue reading. One spring morning, when Mr. Hack-Tack was digging in the garden, his shovel struck something hard. Puzzled, he dug deeper into the dark ground until he came upon an accident pot made of brass. How odd, said Mr. Hack-Tack to himself. To think that I have been digging there all these years and never came upon this pot before. I will take it home. Maybe Mrs. Hack-Tack can find some use for it. Look at this, he's saying, how odd. The pot was big and heavy for old Mr. Hack-Tack as he stumbled along his purse, which contained his last 5 gold coins, fell to the ground. He tossed it into the pot for safekeeping and strangled it home. His wife greeted him at the door. Dear husband, what a strange pot! Mr. Hack-Tack explained how he found the pot. I wonder what we can do with it, said Mr. Hack-Tack. It looks too large to cook in it and too small to bathe in it. That's a huge pot. Let's see, what can we do with that pot? And Mrs. Hack-Tack leaned over the pot to peer onto the pot with her hairpin, the only one she owned, and it fell in. She felt around in the pot, and suddenly her eyes grew round with surprise. Look! She shouted. I've pulled out 2 hairpins exactly alike, and 2 purses too. Sure enough, the purses were identical, so were the hairpins. Inside each purse were 5 coins, 5 gold coins. Oh, look at the hairpins and look at the bags with the coins. Mr. Hack-Tack was so excited, he jumped up and down, up and down. Let's put my winter coat inside the pot. And you see him with his winter coat jumping up and down, up and down. If we are lucky again, the pot will make 2 coats. And then we will both stay warm. So into the pot went 1 coat, and out came 2 coats. They began to search the house and quickly put more things into the magical pot. If only we had some meat, wished Mr. Hack-Tack, or fresh fruit, or one delicious sweet cake. Oh. But they were searching and searching all over the house to see what else can they put inside the big pot right there. Look at this. Let me read this and I'll show you the picture again. Mr. Hack-Tack smiled. I know how we can get anything we want, she said. She put their 10 coins into the purse, then threw it into the pot. Well, she pulled out 2 purses, each with 10 coins. What a clever wife I have, said Mr. Hack-Tack. Each time we do this, we will have twice as much the money before. The Hack-Tacks worked late into the night, filling and emptying the pot until the floor was covered with coins. Oh, they're so lucky. Look at that. Now they have lots of coins and they are exhausted. They finally went to sleep. Look at the coins. You know the name of these coins that they use in Japan. Those are yens, and we know because they have a hole. And we have one word with the yen, right? So now they have lots of coins. And then morning came, and off went Mr. Hack-Tack with a long list of things to buy in the village. Instead of vegetables, his basket was full of gold coins. Mr. Hack-Tack finished all of her chores and sat down to enjoy a cup of tea. She sipped her tea and admired the brass pot. Then, with a grateful heart, she knelt and embraced it. Dear pot, I don't know where you came from, but you are my best friend. She stooped over the pot to look inside. Oh, you're my best friend. At that very moment, Mr. Hack-Tack returned. His arms were so full of packages that he had to kick the door open. Bang! Mr. Hack-Tack was so startled that she lost her balance and fell head first into the pot. Mr. Hack-Tack ran over and grabbed his wife's legs. He pulled and tugged until she slid onto the floor. But when he looked at the pot again, he gasped. 2 more legs were sticking straight out of it. Naturally, he took hold of the ankles and pulled. Out came a second person, and she looked exactly like his wife. Oh! There is Mr. Hack-Tack putting out one person, and there's the other person. Then new Mrs. Hack-Tack sat silently on the floor, looking lost. But the first Mrs. Hack-Tack cried, I am your only and one and only wife. Put that woman back into the pot right now. Mr. Hack-Tack yelled, No! If I put her back, we will not have 2 women, but 3. 1 wife is enough for me. He backed away from his angry wife and tripped and fell. head first into the pot himself. Oh, Mrs. Hagtag, second Mrs. Hagtag, and now he's falling down into the pot. Whoa! Both Mrs. Hagtags rushed to rescue him. Each grasped an ankle, and together they pulled him out. There were 2 more legs in the pot, so they pulled out another Mr. Hagtag too. One Mr. Hagtag, 2 Mr. Hagtag, and the Mrs. Hagtags. Oh my gosh. Just what use does one Mr. Hagtag have for another? Mr. Hagtag cried angrily. This pot is not as wonderful as we thought it would be. Now even our troubles are being double. But his wife had been thinking while he was yelling. Oh, look at him yelling. La. But she is thinking. Calm down, she said. It is good that the other Mrs. Hagtag has her own Mr. Hagtag. Perhaps we will become best friends. After all, we are so alike. He will be a brother to you, and she a sister to me. With our pot, we can make 2 of everything, so there will be plenty to go around. And that is what they did. The Hagtags built 2 fine new homes. Each house had identical teapots, rice bowls, silk embroideries, and bamboo furniture. Oh, that's so nice. Look at that nice house. From the outside, the houses looked exactly alike, but there was only one difference. Hidden in one house was a big brass pot. Of course, the Hagtags were always very careful not to fall in it again. See the 2 houses and the 2 couples? Okay. The new Hagtags, the old Hagtags did become good friends. The neighbors thought that the Hagtags had grown so rich that they decided to have 2 of everything, even of themselves. Oh my gosh. Look how funny they look walking into the streets. The end. That was a fun story, right? To have 2 of each. Well, let me tell you something about the author. I want to find out when the author is for. Lily Toy Hong lived most of her life in Salt Lake City, Utah. That's in here, in America, in the United States. But she grew up in a large Chinese American family. I knew it. Those look like hats from Asia, the houses from Asia, everything. So that's why I was right. She grew up in a Chinese American family. The 7th of 9 children. She says she always knew she wanted to write and illustrate children's book, just like this one. Mr. Hong is married and lives in Murray, Utah, nowadays, here in the United States, where she hopes someday to find a magic pot on her backyard so she can have 2 of everything. And there is even a second book. We should look for this book and read it. It's called The Ox Star Fell from Heaven. How the Ox Star Fell from Heaven. I'm gonna look for her other book, because this was a fun book, right? Well, friends, now let's say thank you for the story. Gracias por la historia. Or say thank you with our sign language. And I hope to see you next week. Bye.